Welcome back to another episode of Sentience, conversations about lives being lived. I'm your host, Alison. On today's show, we are going to dive into the ever-expanding world of self-care. What does self-care mean for you? Treating yourself to something special, immersion in nature, a trip, alone time? There are so many possibilities when it comes to this topic, because it truly is an individual experience. The self. Understanding what one needs to feel better, revived, healthy, clear, grounded. How many people, though, actually allow it to regularly occur in their lives? I personally am a strong believer and advocate for self-care because I know firsthand how allowing that space in my life consistently improves on my overall well-being, and have witnessed how negatively what is known as running on fumes affects my life. It is wonderful to see that more and more opportunities are becoming available for people to find a tool or experience that works for them or feels inviting. From services and groups to workshops and classes to destination retreats, it seems like there is something for everyone. A specific self-care avenue that took me a long time to understand just how important it is for not only my body, but also my soul, is the care of my skin. With the busy lives that we live, a proper skincare routine can often fall by the wayside, wreaking havoc on so many levels and leaving a person feeling less than good about themselves. Or others may never have had the opportunity to learn what works for their skin and ended up using products and tools that were actually causing damage. When I began work with today's guest several years ago on my skincare, I had only had a handful of facials in my entire lifetime at that point, bought mainstream products mostly, and avoided dealing with my skin in many cases, as I struggled for so many years with acne and other skin ailments that left me incredibly discouraged. Now, I feel facials are an essential part of a skincare routine, and I'm eager to learn about new tools and products. And I thank her in large part for that. The experience I have in each appointment is next level, with love and caring at the forefront, which has really made such a difference when it comes to my complicated skin. She truly is a gift, not only as a trusted esthetician, but also as a true natural in the art of self-care. With that being said, and without further ado, Georgette Batoon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Alison. I'm floored that you invited me, and I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I am thrilled that you are here. I just adore you, and I really, over the years, have really cherished our connection and your guidance and really helping me to get to a really good place with my skin and really loving it. Getting to a place where I can really love my skin.
That's awesome.
that at points in my life, that was not at all a reality or felt like it was even possible. So I am very grateful for you and for your very caring spirit and your ability to really understand each person and what would work best for them. So.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it is a joy to have you here today. We have lots to talk about today, and there's just so many interesting things about you that I'm excited to discuss today. So Why don't we start with you telling me a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, as you know, I'm born and raised here, a local girl, back in the 70s before anything was even here. I grew up in Kihei, went to Baldwin High School, go Bears, and it wasn't until later in life that I discovered my passion for nurturing in the skincare field. So I started off, of course, with having a family and nurturing them that way, extending that out to my friends, and then like a lot of people here, I was in the tourism field or industry, and that was wonderful as well. I think that highlighted the aloha spirit that we all have here. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went through with different careers in the hotels and restaurants, did theater, discovered love of makeup, and that kind of slowly led me to where I am today.
You've had a very storied life here on Maui, and I remember one thing I really love about my appointments with you is that we always talk story, and I always learn something new about your journey. And I remember you telling me one time about when you lived in Kihei and your parents bought a house there when there was not anything in Kihei really,
There
right?
was dirt.
So for those of you that are not familiar with Kihei here on Maui, it is a very populated, very built up area that's it's popular both for people to live and for tourists. Lots of restaurants. It's a very sort of trendy area.
Right.
So it's hard to imagine when Kihei was still
Yeah, it was in
the land.
1970s when my parents bought property in North Kihei. Should I tell you the story
Yes,
again?
please,
So what
sure.
was funny about it is we lived in Pu'unene when Pu'unene was actually more of a thriving city. Sugarcane was big, and we lived in Spanish B, which is where it was a camp, basically, where a lot of Filipinos lived. And so as people progressed on Maui, people were buying houses in Kahului and Wailuku, and there was an opportunity for my mom to see land in Kihei. So unbeknownst to my father, she decided she was going to buy a plot of land and build an Arizumi house. So back then they were a really big builder, the Arizumi brothers, still today, I believe. But it wasn't until the house was built that my mom asked my dad if we could take the whole family to drive to Kihei. So he says, why should we go to Kihei? There's nothing there but sand and dirt. You can't grow anything there. But we all got into our little Buick, drove to our house, and our house was one of, I believe, 2 houses on our street.
Oh, wow.
So it was a beautiful house, but all around it was just dirt. And that was back in 1970. And my father said, who lives here? And she said, we do. And he's, what? How can we afford this house? And what's going on? And she says, I don't care if we eat rice and fish sauce, or bagaong, we call it bagaong, and rice every day for a meal. We have a home now for our family. So that's kind of how.
It was a brand new home.
It was a brand new home. And I believe back then the house was $19,000.
Wow.
Yeah. the plot of land and the house, $19,000.
Wow.
So
it is no longer like
no
that on
longer
Maui.
like that.
Wow. I just, that's amazing. That is an amazing story.
Yeah.
Because you really were, there when it was.
When it was all starting out.
Yeah, before Kihei was Kihei.
Yeah.
You saw what it looked like. That's amazing.
There was nothing past Azeka's Market was a single market with.
That was there.
That was there with a two pump gas station. Wasn't even a station. It was just you just pulled up, and your neighbor came in and pumped your gas, and then there was Suda's store, where the ABC store is now.
Okay.
So it's just those two, and we had one hotel called the Maui Lu, which is now, I believe, the Hilton Villas. It's newly built up.
And other than that, it was open land.
It was open land. There was nothing else there, really.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And see, I didn't even know that you lived in Pu'unene before that. You see, I'm always learning something new about Georgee. So you actually saw the whole sugarcane industry happening.
Yes.
And because when you go to the sugarcane museum, you learn about like how workers started building kahului, and so I was really familiar with that story. But I've always been intrigued by that world because it doesn't exist anymore here on Maui. And it's just this very historical time that fascinates me.
All of our elders came here, most of them came here because of sugar.
Because of sugar.
So, you know, as much as it was controversial at the time, like before the end of the growing sugarcane here, it brought all of us together. So, you know, we have to be kind of grateful for that, you know.
And just to have witnessed it, the more the tail end of that industry, right? But,
Yes.
But you witnessed that, you lived it.
I grew up in a time where it was sugarcane. We used to call it Hawaiian snow because they would burn the sugarcane. We would see the ashes.
Wow.
And we would see it falling. I went to Kihei School back where, I believe right now it is the Kihei Community Center near the ABC store. So,
Really?
Yes. So that was
That was an elementary school?
That was an elementary school from kindergarten to 8th grade.
Okay.
And they didn't build a new school till I was in 8th grade, so I don't even want to do the math, many moons ago. But during recess, we'd go out, and sometimes we would see the bombing of Kaho'olawe.
Really?
Yes. You know, that didn't stop till the 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we've been cleaning up, you know, trying
Ever
to
since.
clean up the ordinance ever since. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's changed a lot.
You are just a wealth of information and stories and history, and that's amazing. Because that Maui doesn't exist anymore. It's
No.
it's so different now. So that's incredible that you've seen all of it. That's very special, Georgie.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I guess I was born at the right time and got to see certain things. And I think we need to tell our stories more.
Yes, you do.
So that our children understand our background and people who come understand our background.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you on that. Absolutely. Well, we have two great photos of Georgie. If we can pull those up, please. And actually, we discovered we have a mutual friend. There's one. And that's from high school?
Yes, freshman year. So
that's
that
in the
was
middle
back
between.
in 1979.
79, okay.
1979, my dear friend Adam took those pictures for us.
Yeah, mutual friend.
Mutual friend.
We just discovered that we have a mutual friend. Okay, and then I think we have one other one too. There we go.
Yeah, and that's actually
I love that picture.
a gear from the
Where is
sugarcane
that?
factory. That is on your way to Ma'alaya. It's the very end of North Kihei.
Okay, I absolutely love this picture of you.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love it. I love it. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that bit of history because it's incredible, and I encourage you to tell the stories because it's something that I think a lot of people don't know about that need to know.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, as I discussed earlier, self-care is our highlight today, and so if you can talk a bit about what inspired you to pursue your career in becoming an esthetician.
Well, it started off with, I was in not the greatest of places. I think physically I had some ailments. I was a full-time housekeeper, and so a lot of hard work. And if you know a housekeeper or you have a housekeeper, just hug them really hard because, and that's where it started. I had a business, a cleaning business, and my attitude then was always to give love into what I'm doing, that energy of renewal. And because of my illness, I worked for a family for about 10 years, and because of them, they encouraged me to find something else to do. They said, we really care about you, and this is taxing work on your body, and if we can help you, we'll help you. So I spent a good amount of time trying to find myself and figure out what it is that I wanted to do. And I have a very, very dear friend in theater named Christy Scott. She's a wonderful person. we were out to dinner once, and she said, you know, we need to find something that feels like you. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now that you don't have your cleaning business? So we had dinner, and she said, I need to find some makeup. So we went next door. We were at the mall. We're looking at makeup, and she said to this person, oh, she needs a job. She does really great makeup. Will you hire her? And so that was kind of funny. And I had just said,
on the spot.
Just on the spot. She's always pushing me. That's what great friends do, right?
Yes.
Just kind of opening me up to all these opportunities. So she had basically, you know, pushed me forward and said, she does great makeup. You know, will you hire her? And I said, don't you have to be an esthetician? And they said, no, you don't have to be an esthetician. We'll teach you everything. And I was 50 years old, and I thought, well, I'm too old for this. You know, who will want to come to me to get their makeup done? And they said, oh no, there's so many people that have skin conditions and things that they want to take care of, and makeup will make them feel better and more beautiful, and they would rather see someone that's more mature, that has more understanding about that. So you'd fit in great here. And so when I mentioned the esthetician, they had just hired someone that graduated from our local school here.
Okay.
And so I asked her, well, what was it like? And it sent a spark in me that she really enjoyed the program, and that, so I kept thinking about that. And I'm one to hold things like kind of in my belly and think about it for a little bit. And when I asked people, well, what do you think? Do you think I'd be an esthetician? Does that sound right for me? And so a lot of people that I spoke to said, oh, I can totally see you doing that, Georgie, because you have a way about you. You're very nurturing, and estheticians are nurturing. They're caring for you. So that was the one thing that I knew I wanted in my next career, because throughout my life, everything I did was about making sure other people felt better, and it feels good for me to help other people. So I thought, why not? It's something different, something challenging. I signed up for this school, wanted to quit before I even started, because I had all the old voices in my head saying I was too old, or that I hadn't been to school or done any type of academics in over 20 years. You know, actually 30 years. So I went to school, and it was tough. I was scared, and I thought, will I remember all of this? And as scared as I was, the overriding feeling was excitement. I was so excited every time I went to school, and I thought I was going to be a makeup artist.
Interesting.
And they have 3 different programs there. They have makeup, facials, and waxing, all part of the aesthetics program.
Okay.
So
And you can specialize in one, or?
You do all 3, and
I
from
see.
there, after you've gotten your license, you can decide if you want to gear your life more towards like lash enhancements, or makeup, or bridal. And we got to the facials, and I fell in love with it. I really did. There's this exchange of energy. Aside from learning about the skin, which is awesome too, and exciting, you get to discover how you're going to help someone with their concerns. And I've adopted a motto since then. It's empowered women empower women. So feeling that I could feel empowered.
Can you say that again?
Empowered women empower women.
I love that.
So I even have a pin, and I wear it every once in a while. That motto carries me through. I feel as though if I can share my knowledge and my passion, and I can help someone, that just gives back. The energy of that person gets lifted, my energy gets lifted, and like they say, if you love what you do, you never have to go to work. You never have to.
There's so much truth in that.
There is so much truth in that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you clearly successfully went through the schooling to become an
Yes.
esthetician, and now you have an absolutely incredible studio space.
I love it.
It's such a unique concept where you have your own space within a bigger space that has other similar services.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because when you told me about this, I was so intrigued, and it's a thing on the mainland.
Yes, on the mainland, there's actually there's a company that will go out and buy buildings and warehouses, and they'll just have all beauty or all like spa services in this one area. And
Like
so
small businesses within a really big
building,
area.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So for
That is
where
just
we
so
are,
great.
yeah, it is great. And I'm always surprised when people aren't familiar with the concept. And I keep forgetting, because I've been there for a few years now, I think, oh, this is, everybody knows about this type of thing. But not everyone does, and they always come in and they comment about the fact that it's a one-stop shop.
Yes.
They can go in and they can get their hair done by someone. There's a few hairstylists. Their husband can come in and get his beard taken care of.
There's a barber.
There's a barber. So we have another esthetician that specializes in lashes and facial waxing. We have 2 cosmetologists. One is great with makeup, so she goes out there and she does photo shoots, and people come in and she does more organic based colors, and so that's her little niche. Then we have another one that's an educator as well. She'll go out and educate, and when she's not educating, she takes in her clients. And the owner of our building does nails. And then we have our lady barber that's right next door to my shop.
I always think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, she is super cool. She's super cool.
Well, I was one of those people that was not familiar with that model, and I just think it's wonderful. It's from a business standpoint and from a community building standpoint. I mean, it's great. So I try to get out there as much as I possibly can to see you. And I always
appreciate that.
And I always enjoy coming to your shop because
it's a lovely shared space too.
It really is.
Because it's very, it's just welcoming. It's not overly stimulating.
Right.
So when you walk in, it's got those scents that you can, smell of a spa.
It feels very, very zen. It really does.
It is. It's very zen. And each of our rooms are, we design it ourselves. We can decorate it ourselves. And so my room, I laugh, it's like a little, I call it a grandma cottage. It has a little shabby chic kind of feel, and I have a velvet drop ceiling that I put up there.
I love your space.
Little crystal chandelier type of things, and lots of flowers.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And you can feel the love that you've put into it and the care. So I always look forward to coming out there and coming to Kihei and spending time with you. So.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too. It's always a big warm hug.
Yes.
That great exchange of energy right there.
Yes. In your studio space, can you discuss some of the services that you provide and a bit about how you go about creating such a unique experience for each client? Because that's something that really draws me to your work. It's because I've worked with other estheticians in my life, and it's a bit colder experience. It's not so nurturing. Not a bad experience, but it just doesn't feel as loving. And so I feel like that really sets you apart with your work. I've never actually experienced that before. So to the level that you create. So if you want to talk a bit about the services that you you focus on offering, and a bit about your process, about how you understand each client.
Right. So I approach each service First, from a clinical point of view, I mean, there's education involved in deciding what kind of services to provide. So the services that I do provide are facials, waxing, and I do everything from more glamorous, lash lifts and brow laminations. But I
don't even know what that is.
So a lash lift, so there are people, I think a really big thing that people do are lash extensions. Most people
That's
know
really
about that.
trendy.
It's been around for a while, and I think it's got staying power because it's constantly changing as far as the type of look that people want to have. But for those of you who don't know what lash extensions are, they take individual synthetic lash and they glue it one lash or more per natural lash. So it stays.
Really?
Yes. It permanently, it's like super glue, but better.
Per lash?
Per lash. So it's very time consuming. I think really fast lashers can take maybe an hour and a half, but standard would be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours that you're laying on someone's table, and they will isolate each lash and glue a lash or two. Sometimes they'll have, there's crazy ones, Russian full set, which is up to 10 or 12 lashes per lash.
What?
Which just sounds, yes.
Is that what you see, like the really dramatic?
They're very dramatic,
like very full.
Very full. For me, they would be heavy. I can't even comprehend that.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
But I don't offer that. I don't offer that service.
But people do, and people
do that, and people
okay.
who are wondering, they want something not as permanent or not as time-consuming. I do what is called a lash lift. So basically, it's perming your straight lashes into either a natural curl or a dramatic curl.
Okay.
And then for those who have light-colored lashes and don't want to put mascara on every day, I can tint them.
Oh, I see.
A dark color. So it kind of, you wake up and you can truly say, I woke up this way because your lashes are already curled and they're already dark. So I do that, and brow lamination is the same. It's where you're perming your brow hairs into the shape that you desire.
Really?
And then you can tint those as well. Isn't that amazing? So that's kind
of... What a time to be alive, I tell you.
Yes, it's not quite permanent. It's somewhere in between for those who haven't decided whether they want to have things like tattooing on their brows or...
That's a thing too.
That is a thing, and it's a wonderful service for people who have thinning brows, because as we get older, we start to lose our hair. Not only on our head, but
even
on
our
our brows and on our lashes. So it's something that can help people, just feel a little bit more complete. Our brows do frame our face, and they allow us to have expression. So I do that. I do all over body wax on men and women. I've had great opportunities to help the people who are transitioning to receive waxes as well. So I'm thankful for that I'm able to help everyone in our community. I'm an equal opportunity waxer. If you have hair on your body and you want it removed, I can do that for you.
You can do it.
But also having a background in education I believe made me a better esthetician. The products that I use Dermalogica as my back bar, and their protocol is they started off as a education. They started off as the Dermal Institute. So the woman who opened it came to America and saw that our process of teaching estheticians was a lot shorter and not as thorough. So she opened the Dermal Institute, and more people came to her to get advanced training, and then wanting more products.
The Dermal Institute was in the United States?
The Dermal Institute was in the United States, and she started off in England.
Okay.
And so what was great is that Dermalogica came out. So they have always been a school, a company that believes in educating the people who are using their products. So oftentimes I'll tell you what I'm choosing to put on your face and why I'm using it, why
Which I always
think.
appreciate that. I think that's wonderful, because you could just be blindly sitting there getting stuff put on your face and not know. But you're educating the client as you're doing this multi-step process.
And
so,
it makes you, it's part of a trust building too, to let you know that I am educated and I know what I'm putting on your face, but also you'll know what to do when you get home to help yourself. You know,
Exactly.
you know what to steer clear, and
building that confidence.
Building that confidence. Most estheticians do a skin analysis, so that is part of. I love doing skin analysis because I get to find out more and more about why your skin is doing what it's doing, but also I get to learn a little bit about you, because it's not just your skin is doing something. It has a lot more to do with, are there stressors going on in your life? Are you drinking enough water? Are you, what are you doing for your own self-care? And I like to think of it as I'm teaming up with someone. You know, I would never do something to someone without their agreement. You know?
Right. And I think that really sets you apart, because you know, you're really seeing the client as the individual that they are, and that's very special. It's very special. Well, we have, absolutely. We have a great clip that I'd like to run that kind of highlights a bit of Georgie's work in her studio space. So if we can please run that. I love it. And I have to say, so the masks that you create, they're not just like a pre-made mask. You like make them from scratch, and it's this fascinating, amazing experience where it's like, I don't even know what it's magic, but and it was in one of in the clip on one of your clients where you like put it on as a like a cream, or not even a cream, like almost like a foam. It feels like.
Yeah, it's a gel. It turns into a gel. So it starts off as a powder,
but it feels so light that it's like feels like a foam.
Yes,
it's amazing. And then it's like you paint it on the face, and sit there in bliss for a while, and then it actually peels off as the face.
Yes.
It's the most amazing experience, and so I'm glad that was in the clip, because I feel like that's really unique for what you do. And
people love those masks.
Amazing. Amazing. I can vouch for them.
They start off as powders, and so I have several different
and all natural
powders. Yes,
all
and
natural.
they have
food grade. I remember you telling me once that it's food grade.
So
you could eat it, but you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to eat them,
but you could.
But you could eat them. Yes, there's ingredients.
These are the conversations we have when we're at the shop.
Collagen, pomegranate. There's rose and lavender chocolate.
Right.
All different things, and I usually choose or select a serum to put on you, and then I'll put whip up the mask.
Yes.
Alison always laughs because she can hear me tinkering right next to her. I'm like, what do you feel like today? I'll give her a few options. Gold is one of the options, hyaluronic, and I am claustrophobic, so when I saw these masks, I wanted to try them, and that is a belief system that I have, is anything that I do to a client, I need to experience for myself.
Well, that's right. I'm really glad that we had that bit in the clip where you're testing one of the tools that you use, because that I appreciate about you, Georgie, that you always test everything before you bring it to your shop to use with your clients.
Oh, yes.
That's and from tools to different products to whatever it may be. It's you study it first. You're not just like, oh, this is a new tool. That's really trendy or popular right now. I'm going to use this. No, you actually do the research, and you on yourself you test it. So I think that's fantastic.
Yes, needing to experience what my clients, what I expect my clients to do or to receive. I want to know if it's something that's truly beneficial, what they might be experiencing, and I think, again, that's part of the energy exchange. When I do the mask, having received it, being claustrophobic, what it feels like, what other people have confirmed to me is, you put it on, it's very cooling, so I like to use it after. I always consider my facials as the first part of it being the more aggressive, if that's even the right word, the more work part of the facial, where I'm cleansing and possibly exfoliating, extracting, and using tools. And then the second half is massage, lymphatic drainage. Then when I put the mask on, it's hydrating and cooling. And it's almost as if you're in one of those like sensory deprivation tanks. Because you're being closed off from the rest of the world.
Interesting comparison.
And you feel the coolness, and as it solidifies, you feel it lifting a little bit off of your face, like you have your own special universe on your face. That's how I describe it. And people usually have a very refreshed, they'll take a deep breath after I remove it.
Yes, I can see that thought of like claustrophobia, like because it even goes over your mouth, and really it's just your nose that you're breathing through, and your eyes are covered. So I can see that it could be intimidating to some people, but it's always such an incredible soothing experience, and reviving your skin. It does feel really good once it comes off, because it's like a fresh new face.
Right. And during that time, I am massaging your décolleté and your arms and your neck, so you're getting, if you're into ASMR, that I don't even know what those letters stand for. Something kind of sensory.
I'm fascinated by that whole. I guess it's a trend.
Yes,
it's a thing.
Yes, we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We have the most interesting conversations.
I think our last talk about that was about those slime things that you can purchase.
Oh, yes.
That have things in it. Sometimes it's very tactile. It'll have a smell.
Or they'll pop.
They'll pop. So I look at things from all different sensory perspectives, and so that is, and I do have clients that want me to whisper the whole time.
Really?
So I'll whisper the whole time, and it just adds to their experience.
See,
so.
I mean, that's amazing, and that you can adapt to that.
Oh,
That's,
yes,
that's amazing.
yes.
That's amazing. Okay, well, I want to make sure we cover everything today. So I would like to note that after you finished at this school, you went on to become an instructor at the school.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Well,
So that was before you decided to open a business? Or was
actually,
that,
it was
after?
after.
After you opened this, okay, so you were doing both. You were
Yes,
running
I
your
was
business and being an instructor
Yes.
at the same cosmetology school that you were nervous
Yes.
to start at.
Yes, exactly.
So there you go, Georgie.
So
That's amazing.
while I was in school, we would have traveling instructors come through, and it might be for Paul Mitchell. I think it was a Paul Mitchell representative came in, and he talked about the different opportunities. Why did you come to school? And I looked at what he was doing, educating people, meeting new people, and exciting people about the things that he was passionate about. I thought, I'd love to do that. So when he came around and it was my turn to share, why did I start school? Where do I see myself going? I said, well, someday I'd like to, start a business, but I would love to do what you're doing. I would love to instruct people. My instructor heard that, and when I had my last test, and it was, the end of the road for school life for me, she said to me that she thought I would be a good instructor, but she wanted me to go out there and experience work life, different companies.
Having that balance.
Having that real life experience. And then to come back, and she would love to teach me to be an instructor. And so that was kind of tucked away in the back of my head, and I was working on a client who happened to be going to the school, and she said, Georgie, they need an aesthetics instructor. You should go speak to the director and see if, and so I came by, they had just hired an instructor, but I let her know if the opportunity came up that I might be interested. And so this was during COVID, and so I had my own business, I was starting up again, and she gave me a call and she says, well, we have the opportunity, would you like to do it? And at the time I thought she was calling me about being a student for massage, because that's another avenue I would like to someday have that license as well. So she says, no, Georgie, I want to know if you'd be our aesthetics instructor. So
Wow.
again, just like when I went back to school, I said yes, but a couple days before I had that voice in my head, oh, I can't do this, why, no. And I had to ask myself the question that I ask myself all the time now, which is, why am I afraid? And if it's a life-threatening thing, like I could get eaten by a shark, then I know to back down. But if it's afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, then that tells me to move forward, because there's a lesson in it. And I'm so glad I did. So I was a full-time teacher there for 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years. And now I am a substitute teacher or part-time teacher there. And I have learned so much through that experience. And like I said, I would never expect anyone to do something that I had an experience. So this gave me such a full knowledge and full understanding of being a student, being an instructor, how we retain knowledge, how people learn, and it was life-changing for me, and I'm so glad I had the experience to teach at IBS.
Yes, absolutely. That you really were living a very full circle experience, it seems, because you started as a student, then you went out into the work world, came back as an instructor, And then you decided you wanted to focus more on your business, correct?
Right.
So that's why you moved to becoming a substitute. So you,
Yes.
It's just this full circle experience, and how you told me, you know, you made it special for your students. Like you had, was it you had buttons or pins?
I have pins.
Pins that that's not usually done, right?
No, it's not usually done.
And you created that experience for your students,
Yeah.
and so it's just, you bring such light to everything you do, and I think that's wonderful, Georgie.
Thank you. It allowed me, the pins allowed me to treat them or to honor them as they went through each, and to acknowledge them. And also, I was able to be creative at the same time because I make the pins myself. And
Of course you do.
I make the pins depending
You never
on,
showed them to me.
Oh, I'll have to show you them. But for facials, they get a gold star because I just feel like, so that those I don't make. I buy them. They're like gold stars that you can put on a lapel if you're in the military, I believe. And then I make them for makeup. I make them for waxing, and they could be different types of pins. And at first I thought, this is the mom in me, the nurturing mother. I just wanted to do something like that, thinking, well, I'm not sure if they'll appreciate it, but I feel like I'm doting and acknowledging. And then later on, I would hear stories. The girls and guys would come to me and say, we get asked about our pins all the time. Like, why do some of you have pins? And they're so proud to say, well, I'm now certified in waxing, or I'm certified in makeup, I'm certified in facials, and so.
I love that.
And then special occasions, you know, if I'm around for Christmas, I'll have Christmas pins for them. And
you know, and that really is a true testament to, no matter how old we are or what chapter we are in our life, that recognition is just something that, as a human being, people appreciate and they need, and and you see that, and you create that experience, and it really sets you apart. And I'm guessing that it really helps them remember their studies even more, because it's like, well, wow, I did really well at this, and that small step makes such a huge impact. So I thought that was awesome. It's awesome.
I'd like to think that even when they're gone, you know, they're done with school, they're licensed, they can look at their pins and it means something to them.
Yes.
You know, so
they'll always remember that time. I love that. Love that. Okay, well, speaking of always finding ways to be creative, so you talked a bit about this earlier. You have a pretty storied career in theater, and and so can you talk a bit about you know, other ways that you hone in on your creativity, because you are such a creative person.
Oh, thanks.
And I just, you're a natural artist. You really are, Georgie. And so can you talk a bit, so you said you would specifically do makeup for theater performances?
Yes.
So can you talk a bit, because I feel like that's unique in itself.
Yes, and I've been doing that. I started in theater when I was in high school, freshman year, and I found my tribe, my other creative people, and you have to wear makeup a certain way. There's certain types of makeup that you use so that it lasts longer.
And works with the lighting.
And works with lighting, because bright lights will wash out. If you're on a set somewhere, your makeup is going to look stronger in real life than it does on stage. It'll look more
And it's even
natural.
different from television and film.
Yeah.
Because it has to project, right?
Yes,
to the
exactly.
audience.
It has to project to the audience. And makeup, I believe makeup started in theater that way so that we can, the audience way in the rafters can see our expression on our face. Started off as a mime, so I did lots of mime makeup.
You were a mime?
Yes.
You see what I
I can show you a little bit.
We always have the most intriguing conversations, and I learn something new about you every time.
I started off as a mime and
love that.
did regular plays, danced a little bit. And this was at the time where children didn't necessarily get signed up for dance class at 5 and they became ballet, ballerinas. This was a time where you could be running around on the street and run in your slippers and your tank tops and shorts and and do dance. It was less organized, more organic. So I was very fortunate because my mom was a single mom at one point, and if I didn't have that type of community theater, high school theater experience, I probably wouldn't have been able to express myself in that way if I was born today. Because honestly, today you have to sign up for classes, you have to sign up for programs and compete, and it can be costly. Although our theater communities, they do offer scholarships to families, which is great.
Yes.
But back then, it's do you want to be in Pinocchio? Sure, just show up here. And they would rarely say no to you. They would, 40 kids.
They'll make the show work.
Yeah, they'll make the show work with 40 children. We're all whales and dolphins or whatever it might be.
Right.
But theater gave me the opportunity to express myself with makeup, with dance, and with my body, with mime. In fact, when I left Baldwin, I stayed on as a mime advisor. And so I would advise the mime.
When you graduated from Baldwin?
When I graduated from Baldwin, we had a mime troupe called Silent Youth, which was started by Sue Ann Loudon. And I could name drop, there's a lot of local artists that were part of that troupe growing up. Yeah. But going back, I was allowed to help people express themselves, because your first language is movement. When you're a child, besides crying, your parents are looking at your facial expression and trying to figure out what's going on with you. And when you go to a new city or somewhere where you don't speak the language, we are exaggerating our expressions to try to find the hotel or find the food or whatever it may be. So it gave me my first foundation of teaching other people. And so when I went back to school to get my instructor's license, because I was teaching, but at the same time getting tutelage to be an instructor, I used what I learned in theater to help instruct estheticians.
Wow.
So when we do our practicals, I often say just before there's several different test outs that you have to do as an instructor. So you teach them facials, then at the end of a certain period of time, you test everyone on facials. There's protocols, what to do first and whatnot. And so when I started teaching, I would tell them I have a theater background, and our test out will be like a performance. And so the week before is tech rehearsal. We
tech
go.
Week.
It's Tech Week, or some people in theater call it Hell Week.
Hell Week.
It's Hell Week, and it's more about cue to cue. What you do first, what you say your lines. So we do dress rehearsal. And we pick up our client here, our model, they sign this, they walk here, we come in, we set this, so it's all very staged. And so we just rehearse and rehearse and rehearse that, so that hopefully by the time the play goes on, where they're testing out, they can remember their steps.
With confidence.
With confidence.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Georgee. That's amazing. That is amazing. You're a natural.
Thank you.
You're a natural. Okay, well, we're almost at the end of the show here. So can you share a bit about what your visions and goals are going forward?
Going forward, there's so much. Like I had said, I would love to get my massage therapist license. that way, that's part of the service that I really enjoy myself. And I know that clients enjoy that. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of massage therapy people who end up being my students and learn from them. But I'd love to do that. And just be able to reach more people and give more services. Yeah.
Well, hopefully this show is the start of that, to get the word out there about your wonderful business here on Maui, because it is a true gem. I know that there are a lot of estheticians out there and a lot of competition, and I can attest to Georgie's work that she is a true gem.
Thank you.
It's an experience. It's not just going for a service, it's an experience. It truly is. It truly is.
And that's what I hope to give to each and every person that sits on my table, is that, like you were saying, it's not a number. It's never a number. I welcome them in, and
as an individual.
As an individual.
True self-care.
True self-care, yes.
Yes. Well, Georgee, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. You are just an absolute gem, and so creative and caring and just generally wonderful to spend time with.
Thank you for the accolades, and thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about myself.
Absolutely. Like I said, I treasure going down to your shop and experiencing your magical masks and really just not only taking care of my skin, but just really feeling good about myself and finding the healthiest tools that I need to continue to improve my skin and get it to the healthiest place that it can be at. So yes, it's a joy.
Thank you.
And I wish you great success with your business and everything that you do going forward. I just know that wonderful things lie ahead, and just keep going, because you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing. To learn more about your official business name is Glow by Georgee.
Correct.
So to learn more about Glow by Georgee's esthetician services, you can visit her website, which is up on the screen, glowbygeorgee.com. And you can also follow along on Instagram at glowbygeorgee for specials and updates on new products and services. And Georgee is always bringing new stuff to the table. So make sure you follow her, because she has just the coolest things going on. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trust me, guys. It's a joy. Thank you for joining us for Sentience, Conversations About Lives Being Lived. All episodes can be watched on Akaku channels in Maui County and streamed everywhere on the Akaku Maui Stream app. You can also view all episodes on our YouTube channel, which is Sentience, Conversations About Lives Being Lived. It's at Sentience Show is the actual YouTube link. And you can also look us up on Instagram at Sentience Show for updates, guest highlights, and opportunities to be on the show. Thank you for joining us today. I am Alison Samalita, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you.